See, this is what happens when you refuse to come to Jesus. When you continue to drink, fornicate with whores.
I guess it's going to be like my podcast. I really can't do shit on this fucking phone. I mean, I can only just, without fucking up the phone, the memory and everything just goes to shit. I got to get my 2 Mac notebooks, my 2 cameras, I am at the bottom of the Mac. I might be even blowing those memories out. It's only in way techniques I know how to create movies, or that I have to go invest in another computer, which is about ready to do. But this fucking, let me just tell you what the bill is on this joker.
This is what happens to you, George.
It's those stupid assholes, those 2 guys, they shouldn't have me, they're fishing me.
George was holding your hand while you did it. He let you destroy yourself, George. I mean,
to the tune of $72,000. That's how much this whole ordeal is going to cost me. But where I'm going, I guess it's going to be like there's a lot of charity organizations. So, already got 1 bill in, and the surgeon actually reduced it by half. And you said no insured on there. So we shall see. One of the things, this is kind of like a podcast. One of the things I started realizing about how I was going to deal with all this. About a week before I had this, I was in there laying in bed thinking to myself, like, what could be the worst? Because it's just my finance, I don't make that much money. The worst case scenario would be a major medical calamity. But thank God it's not something like terminal, where you have you just don't resolve the problem here and there. It just continues on and on and on. This is pretty resolved. You break a pipe, you fix it. The diabetes thing is kind of like sugar in your engine. You just don't put the damn sugar in the engine. And so this one is going to be... Well, the thing was, when I was a while back, last week, I had taken some of those edibles. And I was like really kind of panicked, like all these scenarios that you could have go wrong. But then I just thought, I guess as getting older, you just kind of realize, wait a second, no, if I can understand the problem, I can solve it some way or another.
What kind of an artist doesn't drink, George? What are you going to do now, motherfucker?
Well, I can't drink anymore.
That's right. What kind of an artist doesn't drink? If you can't lay drunk, George, what are you going to do?
I guess one of the things that's kept me motivated as an artist and kept me on the fine and narrow is that, I can usually see things like opportunities, to do scenarios and whatnot. And the more I think you get out there and you look around, you can see opportunities to hang work and come up with pictures that are so, at least in your version, so good that someone will buy them. You have to have sort of faith that that it's going to unfold on out there. It's like fishing. I always put the metaphor of fishing always in a lot of stuff I do and whatnot. And so like even like in this situation, where you got a mass amount of debt, I can control the debt. I don't know if there's a bunch of conclusions I started realizing about this whole debt thing is that for starters, there's no interest on the debt. I didn't realize that, and also you can set your own payments. Bingo. So heck, this thing is not as near. It's a threatening, but it ain't gonna. I'm not gonna be handed like a $1,200 medical tab per month. To try to resolve. My economy is so microscopic that it doesn't really.
George, you got yourself a nice Bible-based.
In other words, I think I can handle it, and the most happiest times I ever even back in the old eBay days, is you're just fulfilling all these crazy situations to put some stuff here, put stuff there. It's like a line up of the projects. And actually, I've gotten a lot better at it, like my technical skills. I'm always amazed that, the more it comes less about the drama and more about the technical aspects of construction of a painting.
George, you might have to get a real job.
That's even worse than having a Bible-based girlfriend.
You might.
I'm doing good.
You might have to get a real job, George. Like, I don't know, you could be a stalker at the HEB, or you could work in the gas station.
That's what I tell my buddies is you got to be social. I used to play these games where I'd always wonder, like, well, what if you had to start all over? What would you do? How would you resolve a career? And I was just like thinking to myself, well, I wouldn't even, depending on what kind of career you might go down into and socialize into a corporation or to some, whatchamacallit. But the art stuff, how that all sort of came around, in my opinion. I always ponder this, at 51. How in the hell did I get into this predicament? And, it sort of came around from just, hanging out with my Christian friends.
You had no idea what the real world was like, did you?
The real world sucks.
Yep, the old appendix go out on you, George, and suddenly you're up to your eyeballs in debt that you can never pay back.
I'll pay it back. There's no interest on the debt.
You're going to have to get a job, George, a regular job.
But no one will appoint me. I'm unemployed.
You see, back years ago, I was affected by, it was back in high school. This is where really the nucleus of my art drive came around. I think I was like a junior in high school, or maybe senior. Like it's that summer year between junior and senior. And one of my buddies, this guy, Jimmy, he ended up going crazy. And he went to Tilton's church and came back and thought he had all these holy superpowers and was trying to like heal me of my demons, trying to convert me and stuff. And I just was amazed how my friend just went totally fanatical. But he sincerely believed it too. He was like, he was convinced. And, in the world he portrayed, was really the spirit world versus the material world. Whose side are you on? And I thought, man, these kind of delusional, psychotic powers, man, can, if you actually try to go after something in your work, and I started generating a lot of work about him, it really inspired me to like create these little, I guess, like light metaphors of combat, spiritual combat with people. And you can kind of, you don't really know the meaning of it. You're just sort of characterizing the drama with little, characters and figures in the work. But it's sort of embedded in me, just like, art's really more spiritual than anything. And then if you maintain that habit, your skills are going to get better and better and better. Hopefully they get better. And you don't get seduced into a style. That's something I've always warned against, because a style is mimicry without any kind of awareness as to why you're doing it. It looks good, and some people are incredible mimickers, but they don't know where the direction is going to be out of the work. And for me, technically, it's always a building and editing process.
Like mop floors or something at Walmart.
Well, it'll be good therapy.
It would be good therapy. Help you lose more weight.
For one weekend, maybe tuck it in.
Well, really, the construction of the painting is really the most paramount thing, because it's through the construction, I think, of the details of it is what we sort of will edit or dictate the next step. Because if you can see a problem, you can edit the problem. But you have to ask, is the problem pertinent, or how does it, or I guess, it's non-language. It's just shapes, forms, colors, design, minimal space. It's all basically the base principles of art production.
Well, what you're looking at here, folks, is a broken man. All this whoring, drinking, overeating, it's all caught up with it.
I also don't underestimate the power of THC, because, and I don't habitually use that shit either, because I just go fucking crazy. But there's something about it that triggers your mind to go into like this schizoid kind of phase where you start picking up on cues, and it allows you to animate things or see things in kind of an unegotistical way. And when you apply it to painting or construction to paintings, you start realizing this underlying drama that you're unconsciously putting forth. And it's just like looking at like clouds, or what's that Rorschach test. You basically, where does your mind gravitate towards, and reading all this random bullshit that your mind throws out there, and then how do you construct it on a picture? How do you like put it together on a picture?
Smited you, right?
Was I smited?
You were smoted, I don't know. So he bitch slapped you, George.
And I think because of that, it's kind of like this cultic world of stuff, and I'm not really cultist at all, but, I have that horror mentality of thinking there's this other world that exists, and you see it through your work, and it's purely self-centered, totally, but, it's fun to sort of take it, when you get, stoned, or whenever you get into this mentality of play like or make believe, or you let your imagination go over, I think the more seriously you take it, no one else is going to take it seriously. No one else knows what the fuck you're talking about. But if you understand it, you can act on it. And then it basically starts, it's like building up this castle throughout time, And that's one thing when I realized with my old Christian friends. You know, that's why I started seeing like how they believed in this kind of otherworldness, you know, qualities that I said, why can't you just apply that to art? You know, have that kind of passion.
Washed up artist with bad appendix.
And also it's good to be a little obsessive, for crying out loud. And that's a uniquely, I don't know if it's male or female issue, but you know, being obsessive, I was able you're able just to gravitate towards these crazy abstractions, you know. And they power you up, man. They get you going. I know my obsession keys. I know which ones that get me going. And, you know, it's always driven on some weird sex scenario or sarcasm, you know. Comedy is kind of like an obsession or compulsion to some degree.
Women won't like you at all then, George. Well, because, you know, you like the kind that like the bad boys. So what are you going to do? Find yourself a good Christian girlfriend?
See, I ain't never met a depressed salesman, at least on the outward side. You know, you can't be that depressed, or you can't be that doom and gloom or negative if you're a salesman. You have to be a kind of an obsessive, terminally optimist. And that kind of goes with selling art, too. I think in conclusion, when I was laying in bed in there at the hospital before I had the operation, they came in and asked me some questions, you know, like the introduction team, like they want to know who you are, why you don't have insurance. So they asked me what my religion was, and I told them I told them Texas is my religion. And they go, there's this lady, it's fun to intimidate young nurses, you know, interns, and I watch my dad do it all the time. It was fucking a riot. But they go, well then, they kind of pass on the religious question. So what do you do for a living? I said I peddle fantasies about Texas. A real kind of growly voice.